All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Delusional Fan with Geraghty and McCloud. Ryan McCloud sitting right there to my left. I am Chris Geraghty. This is the Delusional Fan. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page. Check us out on Facebook. Badgers.
How about it?
Upset.
How about it?
Really? What other way could we start the show?
I agree. Yeah.
So we had our little Badger talk last week, and I wanted to play Homer, and I wanted to pick the Badgers, but I was a puss, and I didn't. I knew it'd be the one thing I did know is I knew it'd be a low-scoring game. I knew no team was going to get to 20 just because you knew two good defenses were going to be on the field, and two, well, iffy quarterbacks, I guess is the best way to put it. To give you all the props, you called it. You at least called the Badger win.
Yeah.
Do you remember what your score was?
Look, I was gonna take them winning no matter what.
Yeah.
I just was. And week one, I talked about it last week. Week one on a neutral site. Granted, it's more of a home game for us.
It was a home game.
Right. Still, they're not playing at Camp Randall, right?
Right.
So there's just something about that. They had to travel for a home game. LSU obviously has to make the trip up here. Just one of those weird games where you can have an upset like that. So I really did think that they were going to pull off the win. I said that first, just throwing out a score like 32 to like 20 something, which I said 21 to 17, I think was my final prediction for that game. So it didn't turn out that way, but I'll take it. Yeah, right. It doesn't matter. You should have seen how happy I said it to my godfather. I was just telling you, my godparents visited, brought the tailgate to my parents' house when we watched the game this weekend. And he was asking me what I thought about the game, and when I told him I think Wisconsin's going to win, he wasn't buying it.
Yeah.
But he was so happy that they did, and he was like, "You called it. You did it. You brought it." So it was cool, man. It was that was one of the best upsets I've ever seen for a Badger team.
Yeah.
You would have to, right? I can't think of one in the past that Ohio State when they were ranked high, but it's
when they were number
different.
one.
Yeah.
Wisconsin beat them.
Right.
Wisconsin was still pretty good.
Right.
None of the experts, of course, picked Wisconsin. No. Everybody had LSU. Wisconsin
was
unranked.
You know who did?
Who?
Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
He was on game day. It was awesome.
Of
course, he was going to pick them. But yeah.
So Wisconsin ends up winning the game 16-14. It was a little bit iffy. Wisconsin kicks 2 field goals. Should have been 3 field goals, probably a touchdown. I mean, they made some kind of iffy calls down there, especially in the red zone. Bart Houston throws 2 key interceptions. LSU comes back, takes the lead after the second half. You're thinking, okay, the game's going to go the way everybody thought it would. But no, the defense stiffens up, doesn't allow LSU any more points.
Yep. I was impressed by the defense. Super impressed with the D.
And the fact that they were playing Aranda, the person who set up
former defensive coordinator,
is now the defensive coordinator for LSU because he's making quite a bit more money there. Okay, I want to give you a couple what-ifs here.
Okay.
So if I'd have said to you, I can guarantee you Leonard Fournette's going to have 138 yards in the ground, would you have said the Badgers would have won that game?
If you told me that he would have finished with that much.
Would have finished 138 yards, would you still have picked the Badgers?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was picking them no matter what, though. This is, again, That
wouldn't have discouraged you at all?
No, and look, I think it showed clearly this week that it came down to quarterback play with LSU.
Yeah.
Well, it did.
Brandon Harris
he was not good.
Just terrible.
Right. And if you have a couple throws back from him, and if he makes a couple more plays, extends a couple more drives, they probably do win the game. And they could have ran all over us. And
Houston wasn't great either. Houston threw 2 picks, but Harris threw 2 picks. Harris did have that one really nice drive after the UW turnover where they scored right away.
The difference there, Houston, this is his first start ever.
Yeah.
Harris has been starting for the last year.
Right.
So no excuse for him. He needs to take that step, and he didn't take that step. He might get benched this week.
Especially if you're playing the SEC, too.
Right, exactly.
Well, now they're, of course, again, calling for Les Miles Head. The people down in the SEC are stupid.
Well, no, and hey, while I will agree that he's a good coach, I don't know if he necessarily deserves to be fired. Mm-hmm. This type of loss will get you on the hot seat. If you continue to struggle, I wouldn't be surprised if they let him go after this year.
Yeah.
You need to, how often, it doesn't help that you have Alabama right in front of you every year winning national championships and going to playoffs, right?
And looking good.
It's hard to, right.
They had one bad quarter.
Oh my God, dude, they looked unstoppable. A lot of teams, man. Look, I think this was touted as the greatest opening weekend in college football history, right?
3 top 10 teams?
Went down.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of top 25 action, just whether they were playing each other or just a team that was highly ranked that played. I think it certainly didn't disappoint. there were upsets all over, as you just mentioned. It showed the parity that is in college football these days. And the product has never been better than it is right now, in my opinion.
So another thing I wanted to ask you, Troy Fumagalli, 7 receptions, 100 yards. Is he going to be the number one for the year for Houston? Do you think that wasn't an epiphany, or that wasn't not epiphany? What's the word I'm looking for? That's going to be his standard. He's going to be Fumagalli's his dump man.
Yeah, that's what I would call it, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily like the big play target. That's going to be his go-to guy for sure. That's going to be his safety valve. You can dump off to him, and he'll find spaces to get open. Wheelwright was disappointing.
I mean, the drop passes were driving.
Wheelwright was, and that's what I mean. He had 3 or 4 drop passes in that game.
It was awful.
And that's another thing with Houston. It didn't help that you had all those drops. He had some really good-looking balls that could have, again, extended drives and got more points for us.
Yeah.
And they didn't help him out at all. So they need to clear that up. They were certainly better than and we talked about it last week. I said I have them at 8 or 9 wins. Can they get to 10 or more? They're better than I thought they would look. The defense has been in the top 5 the last few years. They looked the same this year, or at least in that week 1 game. But the offense was better. The run game is cleared up from last year. The run game was so bad last year.
That I agree with. The defense looked the way I thought it would look. I knew they were going to hold LSU just because LSU didn't have a dominant quarterback. And I know Wisconsin can stop the run, but the offense surprised me. Again, the drop passes really killed us on most of the drives that died the way they did, aside from the interceptions, of course. If Houston can clean it up, he might pull me on board a little bit.
Right.
The interceptions were both terrible.
I think he will, because I don't think they're going to ask him to do a ton. They really didn't ask him to do a ton last week.
They asked him on 3rd down deep in his own territory to throw.
And that was, we were watching the game, I put that on the play call more than I do the play.
Senior. He's a senior.
And I understand it comes down to execution and getting the ball to the right place. You had all the momentum in the world. It was 13-0 at that point.
Right.
You can't. Yeah, just run it and punt it. The defense has shut you down the entire game. So I thought that was more on the coaching staff than it was on Houston. That really did. They almost blew that because of that play call.
Right.
That turned everything around. They scored 14 points in 65 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
but Wisconsin showed their grit. I mean, they came back.
Now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What do you think of them jumping to number 10 in the polls?
Let's get into that shortly.
Okay.
Because I was going to bring up that a little bit later. I want to go over the top 10 with you because I also have a Houston question for you.
Okay.
I want your overall thoughts on, and I don't care about next week. What I care about is when we start.
Akron.
Yeah, well, what I care about is when we really start the devil of the schedule. When you're talking Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State. Yes, this is a great upset. Neutral field, I'm not buying it. I don't care. This was
again. Yeah, go ahead.
Because not one single LSU player is going to be jacked up to play in Lambeau, but almost every single Wisconsin player, because the team is mostly homegrown, is going to be jacked up to play.
Okay.
Trust me, it was a home game. I don't care what the campground crap. That was a home game.
That's fine. Yeah.
You said you think you're going to be better than you thought.
Yeah.
Are they going to do the same thing to Ohio State,
No.
Iowa, or Michigan?
No, they won't do the same thing because, when it comes down to that stretch, right? So they have Akron and then they have Georgia State coming up. 2 cupcakes. They got their big dog out of the way to start the season, their big dog non-conference game. They'll get to kind of tune things up and finally tune everything in these next 2 weeks, leading into a 4-game stretch that is brutal. It's by far the hardest in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They have, what is it? They start at Michigan State? Yeah. At Michigan State, at Michigan, host Ohio State, at Iowa. They're not going to win all those games. They're going to lose 1 or 2 of those games. I think they can beat a Michigan and an Iowa. I'm sorry, a Michigan State and an Iowa.
I was going to say Michigan State and Iowa.
Michigan State and Iowa, I think they can take.
Michigan State, quarterback issues. Iowa, they should have beat them last year. They just had bad play from Stavi, in my opinion.
Let's put it this way. If they beat Michigan State on the road, Michigan on the road, Ohio State at home, and Iowa on the road, they're going to be the top.
They'll be in the national championship.
Yeah, they're.
But my main concern was, can they beat Michigan and can they beat Ohio State? I mean, look what Ohio State I mean, they ran over the team. Now they're playing a cupcake, though, too.
Yeah.
But Ohio State will have kind of, I think, the sleeper for the Heisman this year in their quarterback. He threw another 6-touchdown game.
Right.
Michigan, again, they played a cupcake in Hawaii, and Harbaugh with his stupid not releasing the film crap. Did you hear all that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, he's such a prick.
Such a prick. But you want him as your coach if you can get him.
I don't, but
Come on. Come on.
I don't though. Look. If he brings success, then sure. But I personally would not. There's other guys I would take.
They played a cupcake.
I think Urban
too.
Meyer can be a prick. I would take him over Harbaugh. But here's what I'll say. Out of all the games, I think they do have the chance or do have the talent to beat all of these teams except Ohio State.
Okay.
Can you do them consecutively in 4 weeks? Probably not. But Ohio State has the best quarterback out of all those teams, and that's what scares me.
Yeah.
When they start playing good quarterbacks, I don't.
Bears pretty good.
Yeah. I like their chances against other teams, though. The defense will keep them in every game.
All right, so good on you, Bucky. That was just a great game to watch. Had a lot of fun watching that game.
Yeah.
I never, there's a lot of times where I love being wrong, and that was one of the times. The game went exactly the way I thought it would. I really thought LSU was going to pull it out in the end, and I thought when they took the lead, I'm like, well, here it comes.
That's exactly what we thought.
Wisconsin came back. Houston did a good job. Clement did a good job. I hate saying it, but Chris, aside from making Houston throw that pass on third down deep in his own territory, good job. So, again, 2 cupcakes coming up. We probably won't even talk about them much, I don't think, because who cares? I mean, they should blow those teams out.
Right.
But when the bear of that schedule comes up, we're going to get back into this again. College football rankings. So you asked me, you said, what did I think about Wisconsin going from unranked?
It's the biggest jump in college football history from an unranked team jumping into the top 10.
I think that is a gift.
Yeah.
Especially when we are going to have to play Ohio State ranked 4th, Michigan ranked 5th, Michigan State ranked 12th.
Right.
I mean,
Iowa, like 14th. What are they? They're ranked too.
Again, Iowa, I didn't believe in Iowa last year. I don't believe in them this year. I think we should have beat them last year. So I don't care about Iowa. Those other
Iowa's going to be tough, though.
Because their defense is good.
That's what we are for the most part.
But we have the ability with a healthy Clement and someone who can catch the ball. If Houston,
don't sleep on Iowa. That's all I'll say. Iowa will be tough.
I'm not worried as much about them as any other 3.
I wouldn't either, and I would agree with that. But they'll be tough.
So yes, the ranking was a gift. I would have been hopeful for a 20, an 18, a 17. What surprised me more, though, even though and this is going to sound really weird, what surprised me more about the Wisconsin jump is the LSU drop.
Okay.
They dropped LSU from 5th in the country
to 15th, right?
To 21st.
Oh, wow.
In the AP.
Okay, that was in the AP? Because here's the thing. AP has us at number 10, has Bucky at 10.
Mm-hmm.
Coach's polls are probably a little more accurate with us at 15th or 16th.
LSU, well, the coach's poll is 22 for LSU.
Okay. I'm just saying for Wisconsin, coach's poll is probably a little more accurate with them.
That's 16th. Now,
I take them, I think they're a top 15 to top 20 team.
And that I agree with. Let's look at let's look at the coach's poll. The teams behind Wisconsin, the coach's poll.
Mm-hmm.
OK State, Ole Miss, Wisconsin would lose to Ole Miss. Baylor, Texas. Now, Texas, I would assume, would have taken more of a jump considering they won. Notre Dame, LSU, Oregon, Texas A&M, Florida. So Texas A&M won, and they won big. Yeah. I don't know about that. See, that's the thing. I think Wisconsin beats Oklahoma State. I think they beat Baylor. I think they already beat LSU.
Dude, I think they can beat Ole Miss. If they can beat LSU, they can beat Ole Miss.
I think Ole Miss just had a brain fart.
A better quarterback play is really all it comes down to for them.
They had a brain fart. I really think they did. And again,
they were up big at first.
They were, and they should have won that game. That's a bad coaching thing too.
Florida State looked good though, coming back like that and crushing them like that. Florida State, I'm high on right now.
Delvin might be. He might win the Heisman this year.
Who's that? Their quarterback?
No, the running back.
The running back.
Quarterback actually. What's a Francois?
Yeah, dude, he was killed it. Yeah.
But and that's the thing.
Really
first
good.
Half awful, second half great.
Well, that's like his first start too. He really kind of settled down and got after it there.
Bama most likely looks like they're running to another national championship.
Yep.
Because Clemson wasn't that impressive, but they're still number 2. You know what? Who cares? Here's the thing about the jump. Yes, it's fine. Do I think it's too high? Yes. Bottom line is it's the second week. Wisconsin's going to have 2 more cupcakes, which means They can win by 20. They can win by 80. They're not going to go up.
I'm
cupcakes.
saying, well, no,
unless somebody.
That's
else
what I'm saying. If somebody drops, they can only go up. They're not going to go down.
Right.
That's all I would say. It's week 2.
So here is what I wanted to ask you though. Houston, coming in with that huge upset.
Right.
Okay. They beat Oklahoma State or Oklahoma. I'm sorry. Who was considered supposedly one of the best teams in college football, and they might still be, but they shit the bed.
Yep.
Okay. Houston, the only even close to ranked school they have coming up left is Louisville, who's not ranked, but close to being ranked.
Okay.
Well, they're ranked. Okay, Coaches Poll 15. I'm sorry, AP Top 25 13. Okay, so the only ranked team that comes to Louisville, I don't think they'll stay there. But anyways, if they run the table, are they making the playoff?
They can, but here's the thing with the polls. First of all, like I was saying, it's only the second week. So this isn't, nothing's set in stone right now. It's not like the season's ending next week. So a lot's going to change from here as we get to the end of the season. The thing about the rankings is they do tend to sort themselves out, right? So it's going to take into account that they do have a pretty cupcake schedule since playing Oklahoma.
Extremely cupcake.
So that's what I mean. It will sort itself out. Can they make the playoffs? Sure, because they have the opportunity to go through an easy schedule and go undefeated.
The top 4, top 5 teams would all have to have 1 to 2 losses for them to do it. If there's at least 2 undefeated teams, they will not make the Final Four.
Like a 2-loss SEC team would get in over them, is what you're saying.
No, they could get over a 2-loss SEC team. What they won't get over is 2 undefeated teams and 2 1-loss teams from the larger conferences. The Big Five.
Look, I think they can sneak in, but I think it's very early. I still like my top 4, but they can sneak in with. That's kind of how it works, man. If you have the beauty of it too is that they played a top-ranked team. They did show that they didn't just beat them; they beat the shit out of them. They punked Oklahoma this past weekend. So I think you take that into account. If they can run the table, they can sneak in. Okay. Absolutely.
Well, Badgers, good upset. We're going to talk Badgers again as we come up here in the next few weeks, especially as we get to the tougher part of the season. Great game, fun to watch. We're both big Badger fans, so it's a fun Saturday for both of us. When we come back, the Bears just picked up a 3-time Pro Bowler, a Super Bowl champion, and Offensive Lineman of the Year voted by the NFL alumni. We'll get into that when we come back.
Bummer.